the dust is off this thing. Okay, there we go. What's up, YouTube? It's been a while since I've posted anything, so I just figured I'd pop on and give you an update of what's going on with the Fummins and the 6.0. 6.0, nothing much has changed. We're still rocking it. It's been a very good truck to me. 60,000 miles ago, we did studs, injectors, turbocharger, glow plugs, and then deck the heads and all that. That's the daily. It's we just got a new master cylinder done on it last week, and it's been good to me. So yeah, but the Fummins is a different story. So we no longer are running the 12 valve. We have put a 2003 common rail Cummins into this truck. That was our project last winter. We pulled out the 12 valve and the automatic and put in a 2003 common rail with a NV4500 5-speed. Now you might be wondering, well, I thought the common rails came with the 6-speed. That is true, but in 2003, that specific year, they came with a 5-speed NV4500, and then they also came with a non-VGT turbo and no emissions. So that is kind of why we went with the 2003 route. Not because it was the year I was born, but that was just a donor truck for the right price. It was a nice clean truck out of southeast Michigan. Bought it from a guy down there and sold everything else off of it, and we have no more Rams on the farm, thank goodness. Alright, so 2003 Cummins, how this is able to work in this pickup is we are running a Painless standalone harness which runs the ECM to the engine, and this gives us a couple of accessories. It'll make the engine run, but it'll also give us a data link port, so OBD2, and then this will also give us fan relay controls, which are ran over there. Okay, so that's how we're running the motor, is able to be used in this pickup. And then over here we're running the fan relays, which are down in here. But yeah, so how the motor is sitting in this pickup is we are using Carrick custom engine mounts. Those are for 12 valves up to 24 valves. You do have to use the front set of bolt holes on the block, so you have to remove the ECM and kind of fab up your own stand for it, which is what we did. So that is how the motor is sitting in there. We just modified the transmission cross member on the back to make up to the NV4500, which was rebuilt by Wellers. So just changed it up, took the Dodge mount, kind of mixed it with the Ford mount and made that work. And then for the drive shaft, we just took the Dodge drive shaft and changed out the yoke on the end to match to the Ford differential, and we were all set. No front drive shaft at the time. We have some clearance things we're going to have to work on because it looked like we were going to have to cut the floor, which we weren't really wanting to do at that time, so we just figured we'll get to it later. But the T-case is installed, the lever's installed, we just need the front drive shaft. So yeah. The truck is intercooled. We are running a 99 to 2007, no, 99 to 2002 intercooler. You can use a 6.0 intercooler. That is what the Boss Garage did when they did the Caterpillar swap. They used a 6.0 intercooler. So you can use those. We are running the OBS.SOLUTIONS intercooler mounts for that. Let's see here. And then we are running a high mount power steering pump bracket just to make sure we clear our steering gearbox down there and our inner tube, which fits nicely right under here. Highly recommend it. It's a little bit expensive. I got it off of eBay, but it makes clearance problems way easier. So the air intake, it is not a cold air intake by any means, but it is an air intake off of Diesel Conversion Specialists. I don't have the part number offhand, but we are also able to use the 5.9 mass airflow sensor on this by buying a KBD diesel weld-on bung, which we did here, and that's how we got our air intake sensor all figured out. The exhaust is just a standard 4-inch exhaust coming off the back with a 4 to 6 inch chrome elbow. It is in front of the wheel, which is not my favorite thing because it's so close to the cab. But we are also running a different fuel tank, so that's why we have it here. We are running, for the fuel tank, a 38-gallon Bronco tank with a sump. Let's see, yep, there it is. With a sump, because we are using the FASS fuel system that came with the Dodge. So we swapped out, put cat filters on it, and that is also controlled by the Painless harness. So we'll get under here, running the fast fuel filter or fast fuel pump with cat filters, the Bronco 38-gallon fuel tank. There's our drive shaft, transfer case, the Weller trans, and the 5.9 Cummins. So for gauges, we went a little bit different. With that data link port, we are able to use the Edge Evolution monitor tuner that came with it. This thing is stock. We're running no tunes. It does not need any tunes because this truck has not seen 305 horsepower until now, and we need the rear end to hold up just a little bit longer before we have to redo that. So for gauges, we're running new vintage USA gauges. They're actually made in Detroit, Michigan, in Oak Park, I believe. They're a little bit on the pricier side, but they are worth what you pay for. So we're running the coolant sensor. I'll show you them in the cab here. They're like the old school sensors where you have each sensor for each wire for each gauge. There's no bus system. It's very, very simple to install. There's our edge monitor we were talking about, which we could run off the engine. Some things don't work on that just because it's not using a Dodge harness, so it doesn't have some of those signals feeding into it. Our RPM or our mile per hour gauge is ran off a GPS, so that is accurate, so you don't have to worry about wheels. And there's no ABS on this truck, so we're not even worried about the speed sensor at this point, because there's no ABS, and the speed, the PSOM, was inside the old gauge cluster, was toast, so we never had really had good accurate speed, so that was kind of also a reason to do that. So for the pedals, because we are running a manual transmission, we're just using the Dodge hydraulics, hooked up to the 92 to 97 clutch pedal assembly that you could order off the internet. Yeah, and then we're also running Hydroboost, which is brakes powered by power steering and not vacuum. This was kind of a no-brainer. We got that from OBS.SOLUTIONS. Absolutely no issues with that either. Because the 5.9 Cummins, the common rail, does not have a vacuum pump, and the vacuum brakes weren't that good. So when we converted to Hydroboost, it was like night and day difference. So I recommend doing that even if you're not doing a swap, because it makes it a lot safer while driving. Other than that, that's pretty much it with the Fummins. We changed out the toolboxes. This is the one out of my first 3rd gen Dodge that I had wrecked in 2021. Not like on purpose, it was a mistake. So that's the only, that box made it for that. So we put that on there with our lights. Fuel tank, that's been in there a while now. No issues with it really. Haven't used it much either because the truck's been sitting for, I've put more miles on this truck this year than I have the past 4, which is kind of sad, but you do what you got to do. We also have an LED light bar on the front that is connected to the high beams. It's because the truck is so high up and these are kind of faded. We do need to get new headlight housings, but it is getting close towards the end of the good season, so we'll worry about that this winter. Well, that's about it for the Fummins 2.0. Not much more I really want to do to it other than just to maintain her and keep it nice. The interior, I might do something different one day with like captains or a different kind of bench seat, but it works. It is very comfortable to drive because the shifter is so far back on the like the shift tower, because it's NV4500 and not the factory Ford ZF5. So you're able really to just rest your arm on the console and just shift it like no tomorrow. Shifts really nice thanks to that rebuild by Wellers. CB radio's still there. No power converter, we took that out. I don't know if I made a video on that, it's been a while. But we are not running a power converter on this anymore. Don't need to. But yeah, so that is all I got for the update on the Fummins 2.0. Not much has changed other than the engine swap. It's still the same pickup. Yeah, just it's 34 years old. And it's still going. It's probably got over 500,000 miles on it, honestly, on the body, because I bought it with 400,000 on it. Without, then I realized the gauge rolls over to 300 every time, so who knows how many's been on it. But yeah, it's fun to drive. It's pretty quick. No air conditioning, but that's all right. It's an older truck. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.